The wind never stops in Kostenki. It moves across the plains, brushing over the bones that still lie there, rolling down the hill. The people who once built homes there 30,000 years ago, their bones still lie buried in these lands. The reindeer ribs and mammoth tusks stacked into homes by hands that knew hunger, cold, and fire. Kostenki isn't just a place, it's the whole world folded onto the right bank of the Don River. More than 20 Paleolithic sites are here, settlement after settlement, time layered over time, a story written deep in the earth's skin. The trees are same: spruce, larch, willow, aspen, but back then they were thinner, sparse, clinging to the river's edge like a fragile promises. The air was colder, biting frost on faces. The river dawn was narrower, harsher, less giving. There, under those cold skies, a strange endurance lives. The view, the same vast landscape stretching into forever. They build their homes from bones. Not a metaphor, real bones. Mammoth ribs, skulls, tusks set in the circles, lashed with hides, roofed with branches and grass. Against the northern wind, those walls held steady. These hunters were builders too. That was something new, a mammoth bone structure. Ribs, 5 or 6 meters long, lie where they fell. It looks frozen mid-built, a frozen breath of care and design. A ring of mammoth bones, 9 meters wide. Ribs turn into arches, tusks into doorways. I imagine hearing the whispers through the cracks of their shelters. The Don River slid by, dark and cold, carrying the sound of their lives downstream. These buildings meant to endure. They were designed with care. Springs, river, terraces, nature and culture join into the fragile dance. The layer dates to around 25,000 years ago. The people dug into the earth and found death waiting. In one of those bone houses, a man was buried beneath red ochre. The blood, the fire, was it a sacred color? The grave is full with beads and ivory, rods for journey no one could see. His genes tell us a story, a bridge between Europe and Siberia, a handshake across ice and time. These people arrive far earlier than we expected, living and thinking against the ice. Nearby, they found carved mammoth ivory shaped like tiny human heads, tools brought from hundreds of kilometers away, from the Black Sea. These people were skilled, creative tool makers, carvers, artists, engineers, daring to build beauty in the cold. I don't think of dates or names when I think of these places. I think of people who built homes out of bones and lived under the breath of the wind. I think of people who carved beauty into stone where there was no reason to, except to stay alive. Is Kostenki in Europe? Yes, it's the bridge, the link between Siberia and Gravetians. The people of Kostenki traveled east, following the herds, crossing frozen rivers, chasing warmth and food. Others came west, bringing their stories, their tools, their art, and something passed between them, both ways. I know I'm being poetic. I believe they were connected, Europe, Siberia, and then Americas, all of us moving beneath the same sky. Anyway, Kostenki. They call them Venuses, small women carved from stone and ivory. Heavy breasts, wide hips, no faces. They weren't about beauty, they were about life, about the miracle of surviving one more winter. I think that was art at the beginning, not decoration, not worship, a need to make something. I really don't call them Venuses. I made episodes about it. No, not Venus. Venus belonged to the world that came later, the world of temple and cities, of polished marble and soft hands. These women were carved in the world of wind and bone, a world where winter didn't end. A woman figurine was found in 1988, her body chipped from limestone, tall and heavy, the biggest of her kind, 13.5 centimeters. You can see the thick limbs, the massive torso, the navel pressing forward, and on her wrists, bracelets, 2 of them, carved like handcuffs, joined at the front. Who gave her those? A craftsman with frozen fingers, scraping limestone by the firelight, maybe thinking of his life, maybe thinking of his wife, of the woman who carried his child, or maybe it was just the shape that came to him as he worked, his knife following the lines of memory, the lines of a woman. She's silent and immense, a monument to a known. 25,000 years old, Gravettian. Maybe she was a prayer of a woman who wanted to live long enough to give a birth again. You can feel the reverence in every curve, not lust, not decoration, but worship of the simple fact of being alive. A woman carries the full weight of motherhood in her form, a soft stomach heavy with life. She doesn't have a face. She does not need a face. Her story is already written on her body. A woman figurine carved from mammoth bone, her body round, heavy with life. Pendulous breasts, full belly, wide hips, buttocks that seem carved out of the earth itself. From the back, she wears a kind of a girdle, or maybe a fringe, something that says she wasn't just a body, but being adorned. She doesn't have a face. None of them do, just those in Siberia. This woman figurine was carved between 24 and 21,000 years ago. There's a woman made from ivory. Now, this one is special. She was the first. Found in 1923, 9 centimeters tall. The first Ice Age woman figure ever found in Russia. Look closely, you will see a ribbon above her breasts. 3 parallel lines, carved carefully, crossed with smaller ones, like the weave of a textile. The same pattern runs along the back. Maybe it was jewelry. Maybe it was clothing. Maybe it was ritual, a way of marking her as sacred. What do you think? Write in a comment. You can almost see the hand that carved her, slow, precise, the mind of a person who saw beauty not in perfection, but in form, in flesh, in a weight of being human. A woman figurine, once polished smooth and painted black, yes, black pigment, rubbed into ivory, with lines and engravings all over her surface. Across her back, bands running over the hips, and around her neck, jewelry, maybe necklace of fox teeth or saber-toothed cat. Ornament, status, the artist's devotion. She's unlike the others, elegant, decorated, almost defiant, as if she knew the eyes of the future would find her. There are few woman figurines that are unfinished. Some of them are heavy, rough, thick, maybe abandoned before they were done. Who knows what happened? We don't know the processes of contemporary artists. Neither do they, but that's another story. We don't know the artistic processes of those that history admires. What went to the artist's head before abandoning these will be a mystery. I imagine a man, tired after days of carving, setting her down by the fire. Maybe he never picked her up again. Maybe she wasn't meant to be finished. Maybe that's what makes her perfect. That raw, unshaped silence that carries through the ages. Art, like life, isn't always complete. It's flawed, mysterious, with more questions than answers. You can still see where the tool stopped, where the work ended. Maybe the one who carved her died. Maybe the artist changed their minds, or maybe the piece was never meant to be complete, like a thought left unspoken, or a prayer lost in the snow. Some of the figurines were found deliberately broken. The legs snapped off, the heads gone. Ritual, they say. We don't know what it meant. A sacrifice, a renewal, remembrance. But even broken, they endure. Sometimes art isn't meant to last. I want you to hit that like button as if your life depends on it. And if you're not subscribed, please do. They call them Venuses. I don't. To me, they are artists' wives, lovers, mothers, sisters, daughters, carved out of love, fear, reverence, maybe even hope. Each of them tell us something about who we were. I don't call them Venuses. I can't. The word Venus doesn't belong here, not in the frozen Paleolithic. They knew hunger. They knew snow that buried the earth until spring was just a rumor, a hope. When they made these women figurines, they carved life itself. There's a woman figurine found in pieces, 4 fragments of limestone. Broken long ago, maybe on purpose, maybe just by time. Some say she was a test piece, a practice run for a carver, learning how to coax form out of rock. But even broken, she's powerful. The belly bears the blows of her maker, a heavy, human hand shaping something sacred. She stands 17.5 centimeters tall, raw and rough. You can almost hear the sound of the blows that gave her life and maybe ended it. She has legs in X shape, as if she caught in a dance or a pain, transformation. A woman figurine carved in marlstone. Her body carries scars, impacts, imperfections. She's heavy, silent, unfinished. Sometimes I think that's the most human thing of all, to be unfinished. A woman figurine made of mammoth tusk, found in 1936. Her head is marked with rows of tiny cuts. Is it hair, a headdress, or a both? Lines run across her chest and back, engraved and raised, the details sharp even after 25,000 years. One researcher called her one of the best creations of that period. He was right. She's perfect, not in symmetry, but in spirit. Her little hands rest on her belly. The head tilts forward as if she's listening, not to the world, but to what's inside her. A mother already, and a mother again. You look at her and you feel something quiet, peaceful. There's a woman in limestone, just the torso. The left arm is still visible. In one layer of Kostenki 4, they found 6 small pieces. 2 are women. 2 are fragments of something almost human. And 2 are carved engravings. Little lines, little marks, whispers of thought. You can almost imagine a fire burning low and a hand tracing those lines by the flicker of its light. There is a rod with a round head. a point with a hat-like top, another with a smooth tip. Were they figurines? Were they tools? No one knows. Some say they were used in ritual. Some say they were the first rhythmic instruments, drumsticks carved from mammoth ivory. Others think they were just for scraping snow from clothes. But who's to say scraping snow wasn't ritual enough in the world like that? There's a male figurine, yes, man, engraved on the bison bone 22,000 years ago. Only his abdomen and a part of his legs remain, but that's enough to know what he was, a presence. And finally, a small vulva sculpture from Kostenki 1. Simple, direct, eternal, the symbol of origin, of life, a shape that outlasted language. I don't call them Venus figurines, the word doesn't belong here. Venus is a goddess of a later world, the warmed world of marble and wine, of men writing poetry for women they could never have. These Paleolithic figurines were born from hunger and endurance, not from luxury. They were made by people who carried fire through blizzards, who slept beside mammoth bones, who watched their children breathe the frost in the night. When I look at them, all of them, I don't see gods or ideals. I see people who refuse to vanish. Mothers, daughters, lovers, strangers, carved in a time when the world was still learning how to survive. People who carve what they fear to lose: life, birth, continuity. Each figure is a heartbeat, carved in ice. 25,000 years later, we are still trying to understand what they were trying to say. What they left behind was not beauty for the beauty's sake, but a promise that even when the world was dark and cold and cruel, someone could still take a piece of bone or stone and make something human. If you watch this much, thank you. You can support me for $1 per month. Links are provided. Please subscribe, like, and comment. It will help this channel grow. Thank you. I hope I inspired you. I hope you learned something. If you're listening, you can always check the art on the YouTube channel. And if you don't want to watch it, only listen, you can listen this on your favorite podcast app. Thank you.